So it is New Year's, and I shoveled off the deck for fun and exercise because it's finally warmed up again, and so I'm happy. Anyway, I have to return the Violent Femmes. This was a 1982 thing. I love this CD. I borrowed this from, where did they send it from, I wonder? Don't know. University of Alberta lent me this. Thank you, University of Alberta. So I highly recommend that if you're not familiar with that album. It's excellent. It's pretty much every song on there is great to listen to. Anyway, we watched Air Crew, which was a Russian export, and they played this. I was trying to remember what the melody was. It was terrible. They played this song through most of the show until one of the characters wrecked the stereo that it was playing on. And we were like, oh, thank goodness she wrecked the stereo, because it was terrible music. This movie was terrible. I can't imagine anybody would want to watch this. The acting was bad anyway, and then, I mean, we're watching the dubbed version, which dubbed is never fun, but terrible dubbing, like absolutely unwatchable. So Air Crew, not as much fun as I thought it would be. Lucifer, the complete third season. Now, it's not a very good series. The acting is terrible. James likes the acting of the fellow who plays Lucifer. I don't know what his name is. Anyway, so I don't know. I guess if you like his acting, then I think they write some interesting things for him to do and stuff. He's, it's not only lines with him. It's sort of comic. He's kind of, he has I do see why James appreciates his acting on the show more than anyone else, because he's not just reading lines. So anyway, I don't know. It was on. I was doing other things. It doesn't matter. This one, Unfriended Dark Web, from the producers of Get Out, Happy Death Day, and The Purge, was scary. And honestly, I know it's hard watching movies that they're texting and stuff on, but that's a lot of people could relate to that nowadays, and so that's pretty realistic. But anyway, so there's that. You're having to read text and stuff like that. Anyway, and a lot of it's a computer screen, really, that you're looking at. But at the same time, this is quite realistic, and it totally freaks you out. I often think about the fact that, nobody would care to look into what I'm doing or anything, but it's out there. If I'm on the internet, then I'm accessible. Whatever makes me, whatever I do, whatever. And people don't really, I don't think they really realize how unprivate their life is now. And anything that, if anybody wanted to know about you, they would know. If they, if they really wanted to go to the lengths to find out. So anyway, so yeah, it's kind of freaky. And I did watch all of the, it has 3 killer alternate endings, and I did watch them, but really the only one that works is the one that they gave you first, so just watch the one. Anyway, People That Are Not Me. I didn't care for this, but I don't know. It was subtitles, Hebrew. Anyway, it was on. I was doing a lot of art while these were playing, so it doesn't really matter. Peace After Marriage. This was... Anyway, I think This is actually a positive thing. I don't think James agrees with me. I could tell you why, but I wrote a page and a half on it, and I mean, I could read a little bit of it. I don't want to upset anybody by talking about it, really. The box blurb describes it as Woody Allen-inspired self-deprecating humor, and I can see that's what Al-Bulawi, I don't know how you pronounce that name, and James isn't here to help me, so, was aiming at. Woody Allen pokes fun at his neuroticism, but Al-Bulawi pokes fun at his perverted sexism. And honestly, it should make any feminist uncomfortable. And you're watching it and you're like, God, you know, why do I feel so uncomfortable? And if you really pay attention to it, it's, you know why. Al-Bulawi wants us to see him as an everyday average Joe American trying to find love, and there's a lot of everyday average Joe sexists in America, and he's one of them. That's all. He's not trying to find love. That's it. He's trying to find somebody to have sex with, and two-dimensional person, and he ends up getting into a green card marriage with an Israeli woman, and he's presenting this as he's a modern kind of guy, right, doing this sort of stuff, but really it's creepy. It's really disturbing. So anyway, I don't want to read the rest of it, or I'd really upset people. Final score with it had Pierce Brosnan in it, and honestly, I did not expect to like this, but it has soccer and stuff. I thought James would get a kick out of it. You know, I actually enjoyed watching it. There's a lot of action, and this Dave Bautista, he doesn't seem like he knows how to fight very well, and you know, he has the kind of, I'm not saying he's on steroids, but he has that steroid using kind of look, you know, big and kind of fattish looking, but with muscles. Anyway, it's not the kind of look I find attractive, but that's really the kind of look that is featured here most. And I guess people are into that, whatever. You even get a motorcycle scene within the stadium, whatever, which is interesting. Motorcycle chase scene. I don't know how they managed to work that in, but they did, and it was fun. And I mean, it's a lot of it. You're watching it and you're like, wow, this is not believable, but who cares? Anyway, and they managed to work in like a Russian guy had gotten a facelift, and all of a sudden he's Pierce Brosnan, and it's like, wow, everyone wants that plastic surgery job, right? And it's a trade up for pretty much every man. Maybe not George Clooney, but maybe, because Pierce Brosnan, pretty attractive, even though he's getting older, but aren't we all? Anyway, which leads me to Diagnosis Murder, the 4th season with Dick Van Dyke, which looks the same, only with white hair. Awesome, he must really take care of himself. And I don't know when they put this out. It says 2013 on the box, but I really have no idea. But they had Andy Griffith in it as Matlock, right? As his character Matlock, and he chubbed out a little bit. So I'm thinking this came after Matlock, but I don't know. Honestly, I haven't been watching it very much. It's one of those mysteries that's aimed for older people, so it's not really a mystery, you know. They pretty much lay it right out there within the first couple minutes, and then it plays through for the rest of the hour, and you're like, oh yes, he did it, I knew it all along, because it was obvious, because it's not a real mystery, it's just, anyway. whatever, doesn't matter. It's on right now. The dogs are watching it. Oh, and this guy is apparently his real son. James was reading the box. And then James was like, listen to their voices. And so I was listening and I'm like, yep, they're exactly the same. It's hard to tell their voices apart, but they don't look the same. But whatever. It's interesting. And what a great thing to be able to do a TV series with your son. That'd be wonderful. So I hope they had fun doing that. Now, I'm going to read a little bit more about the plant paradox because I realized that the camera cut out on me, and it might cut out on me again. Let's see, what did I decide I was going to have to read? I think this is where I left off. Cattle, pigs, and sheep all carry the GC thing, the sugar type, which your immune system recognizes as foreign when you eat their meat. When our immune system is exposed to GC from red meat, we develop an antibody to the lining of our own blood vessels, which has AC. This causes the antibody to attach to the lining of our blood vessels, mistakenly our own naturally occurring AC for the GC we've consumed and calling an attack from our immune system. This may be why shellfish, mollusk, and fish eaters have better heart health than meat eaters. And that was page 157. This is 158. Cancer cells use GC to attract blood vessel growth towards them by production of a hormone called vascular endothelial growth factor, VEGF. VEGF production is promoted by an immune attack on NEUGC. Cancer cells use NEU5GC, I forgot 5 in there, to hide from our immune cells. Human tumors contain large amounts of GC, despite the fact that we have no genes to manufacture it. That means the tumor cells got it from that beef, pork, or lamb you ate and nowhere else. A diet low in animal protein extends life. 160, he's talking about the Kitivans on the high carb, high fat diet, which is mostly saturated coconut fat. Live into their 90s. They mainly consume resistant starches. These are not absorbed as sugar, but feed your gut microbes, which convert them to short-chain fatty acids such as acetate, propionate, and butyrate. Resistant starches don't raise blood sugar or insulin levels. 170, his subheading, fruit might as well be candy. I do not agree with that at all. Anyway, 175. There are 3 fruits that you can have so long as you eat them when they are still green. Bananas, mangoes, and papayas. Avocado is the only acceptable ripe fruit, according to him. 173. Scientists from Berkeley carbon tested American hair and found 69% was from corn. Only 5% of Europeans from corn. But corn contains both lectin from the BT, corn, contains lectin from the snowdrop plant. Chicken, eggs, and flesh, pork, beef, cow's milk are contaminated with aflatoxin. 179. Eat leafy greens, resistant starches, no fruit, more omega-3 fat, including flax, walnut, EVOO, macadamia nut, MCTs. Don't eat much meat. No dairy besides that from certain breeds of cow, sheep, goat, water buffalo, which could make casein A2, but limit it. Pressure cooker will destroy the lectins in beans and nightshades. That's 180. The lectins in wheat, rye, barley, and oats cannot be destroyed, so they're off limits, according to him. 182. People need only 0.37 grams protein per kilogram of body weight. A 125-pound woman needs 21 grams, says Dr. Walter Longo of the Longevity Institute at U of S, California, South California. Let's see, where am I now? Poison beans. Beans are highest in lectin of all foods. 5 raw black beans or kidney beans will clot your bloodstream within 5 minutes. Ricin from castor beans is most potent lectin. Anyway, page 207, 20% of food poisoning cases in the U.S. are the result of lectins in undercooked beans. Lectin content of chia outweighs the benefit. Tomato peels and seeds contain lectins. Peel and de-seed peppers too. Page 213, fermentation decreases lectin content. Fermentation in sourdough kills gluten. Fermentation eliminates 98% of the lectins in lentils. He says that sprouting legumes increases lectin content. Feeding sprouted beans or grains to lab animals has been shown to cause cancer. 214. The squash family hails from the Americas. As such, its members have lectins that have been foreign to humans for most of their evolution. And, I mean, if you read that, and you have any sense about you, you know that it was a staple of American people. So it hasn't been foreign to humans for most of their evolution. American humans ate it. Anyway, so 222. Cleveland Clinic research polyphenols in fruit pulp paralyze enzymes in gut bugs, preventing them from converting the animal proteins carnitine and choline into artery-damaging compound called TMAO. Take fish oil supplement before each meal. 223. Stomach mucus enhancers DGL, licorice root, slippery elm, marshmallow root. Rebuild stomach acid with betaine and grapefruit seed. Repair gut wall with vitamin D and fish oil, L-glutamine, butyric acid, grapeseed extract, and pycnogenol and anthocyanins. 224. Reactivate and calm white blood cells in the intestinal lining with the supplements Indole 3 Carbonyl and DIM, or simply increase cruciferous vegetable consumption. 230. One test that many of my successful patients report is that they no longer need toilet paper. You can read more about that on page 230. What page am I going to now? 273. U.S. Senate document 74 to 264. The alarming fact, this is a quote, the alarming fact is that fruits, vegetables, and grains now being raised on millions of acres of land that no longer contains enough of certain needed nutrients are starving us no matter how much we eat of them. And that was written in 1936. He provided that on page 273. 275. More than half population has one or more mutations of the methylene-tetrahydrofolate reductase, MTHFR genes, which limits their availability to make the active forms of both vitamins. Take 1,000 micrograms methylfolate each day and 1,000 to 5,000 micrograms methyl B12. Might become depressed or excited. If so, see his website, www.drgundry.com. They convert homocysteine into bloodstream to a harmless substance. Elevated homocysteine level is correlated to damage to inner lining of blood vessels and elevated cholesterol. Lower these with B vitamin. And now I'm going to 280. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention that he sells Gundry MD Lectin Shield with 9 ingredients which block lectins from reaching gut wall. D-mannose is one in his product, or you could take glucosamine and an MSM, Osteobiflex or Move Free. And then he talks about D-mannose is the active ingredient in cranberries. And I've been feeling a lot better lately. I have more pain today, but anyway. And I was eating loads of cranberries. I was juicing 3 bags worth of cranberries each day for a few weeks, and I felt pretty good. A lot better than usual. So maybe there's something to that D-mannose in cranberries. And I wasn't drinking cranberry juice, from the store, the sweet, good tasting stuff. I was juicing actual cranberries, which tasted terrible. Very tart, not nice, but healthy. Anyway, he has some other things that he sells. So I don't know. I did, as you can see, I took a lot of notes, but and there's some things that I agree with, some things I don't. I mean, his one thing where he was, the one part of the book where he was talking about how the Roundup Ready crops, they don't wash the Roundup off the food, and he's complaining about that. And glyphosate, which is the active ingredient in Roundup, is a systemic herbicide. So you spray it on the plant, and it is absorbed into the plant and translocates throughout the plant's vascular tissues. So it's throughout the plant. It's all inside of it. You could wash it and scrub it as much as you want, and you're not going to get it out of there. It's right in there. So a lot of people, they'll write books and they have one area of expertise, and MDs, it's never nutrition. They have no expertise in nutrition, but they write a lot of these books. Anyway, that is not what they specialize in, and they actually don't know any more about nutrition than most people out there do. They know almost nothing about nutrition, yet they're writing these books, and people read them like crazy. They become very popular, and so I like to talk about them, and I like to point out they know nothing about nutrition. And when you catch something like that about the something that you actually know about, and you're like, whoa, that's not right, expect that there's a lot of other things that you don't know about. It's not your field of expertise, but it's not theirs either. So look up everything that you like. There's a lot of things in here that I found interesting, and I will look those things up. I've made note of them. That ACGC thing, pretty interesting. So I'm going to have to look into that. Anyway. Oh, and I wanted to point out the... Oh, well, you know what? If you're interested, you will read it. That's all. So I don't really need to point out anything else. That's a good stack. Went through for the Christmas holiday to New Year's week. I tried to swim quite a few times, and the pool was closed. So I got a good walk in anyway to go to the pool. And yeah, we'll see. Anyway, feeling not too badly. And we didn't get a white Christmas, but we certainly got a white New Year. And it's going to melt in the next few days probably, so. Oh boy, my back sat too long. Now there's the white New Year's.